The generation of miracles, 5 talented basketball players, each possessing each in very special, different abilities. Each of these players were gifted with the skill to play basketball at an exceptional level that no other player can. Today, guys, me, Montre, from E&M Gaming, will finally be diving into probably one of the best and greatest topics of all time. Who is and will forever be the greatest basketball player from Gorko's Basketball? Gorko's Basketball, if you didn't know, is a show about 5 prodigies of basketball players who play basketball at a high school level, originally appearing in middle school when they developed their incredible, insane abilities, featuring Ryota Kisei, the copy man, Mukisara Bara, the blocker slash from all lane player. He can pretty much block any shot from long distance. Is super hard to stop on offense. Just really crazy guy. Then we got good old fashioned Akashi, captain of the Generation of Miracles, and capable of crossing them with little to no difficulty, and anyone else for that matter, and making them literally fall to their knees, fall down, just disrespecting them in every way possible. And I saved the best 2 for last. I'm lying. Midorima is not the best. He shoots threes from like all the way on the other side of the court, which is just freaking retarded. But I wouldn't necessarily call that broken, or well, it's broken, but it's not. Just you need to get scared, But when he's getting those passes into his hand as he's forming up for the shot, he can be quite monstrous. Also, the worst, maybe the worst, Daiki Yamine, the Generation of Miracles ace, and able of doing something called a formless shot, which really allows him to shoot in any form possible that he decides, and somehow still shoots the shot, allowing him to dodge players and fake them in mid-air. Also move really well in the air, stopping people from passing behind them, which sounds really, really impossible and hard, but still somehow he's able to do. So out of all 5 of those, including Tetsuya Kuroko, the main character of the show, who technically classifies as one of the Generation of Miracles, along with Tatsuki, but I don't know if I should give Momoi her chance here to be on here. So I'm just going to leave it up to the basketball players, but Momoi, she definitely deserves her rights as #1 best girl in the show. Just playing Rico, probably. But as far as the Miracles go, she's probably the best outright, just because she doesn't play games and she does something special from the beginning. So with that being said, let's talk about the Generation of Miracle and who actually is the best one out of all of them. For this video, I will not be including Kagami, because technically he is not one of the Generation of Miracles. He did not play on the Takeo team, and that's what I'm going by. Before anyone gets mad or angry, simple as that. That's why he's not included. Let's get into this video right now. Okay, guys, for this video, I'm just gonna be, going over each of the Generation of Miracles and pretty much talking about everything they can do, and pretty much giving you a pretty good, example of like everything they can do in case you haven't seen the show and you want to get into it, but somebody's asked you, hey, who do you think your favorite Generation of Miracle player is, and all that other stuff, or just plainly so you can get the basis of the video if you haven't seen it, I guess. So let's get into it. So although I would normally not start off with the captain, I guess I will for this video. Seijiro Akashi is the captain of the Generation of Miracles. He's their captain, and by that distinction is supposedly supposed to be the best player. No. I'm not giving him that because it's pretty much what this whole video is based upon. We'll figure out who the best is at the very end of this. Now, if you've seen the whole show, this might be what I'd like to call probably the most debatable topic of the entire show, because the show in itself gives out a lot of creds that makes it really difficult to actually even know who is the greatest, because they throw that word around really, they do it a little too much in my opinion, so it becomes really difficult to, figure out who that is. But right now, from where I'm starting, Seijiro Akashi, captain of the Generation of Miracles, he makes people, he basically crosses them, like how you do in basketball where you make the player fall over on their, just fall over, and then he shoots the ball. He's exceptional at doing this with his Emperor Eye, which, if you didn't notice, is his anime special ability for basketball. The Emperor Eye, from my knowledge, isn't real, but players have another eye that's from this show, which is known as the Hawkeye. It's literally the only eye that is actually a real thing in basketball from this show. and that's about it. The people with now there is this such thing as an eagle eye, and the thing about that in this show is that they talk about something like that in soccer, but I'm not here to talk about everybody else in the show. I'm really just here to talk about you know just the miracles. So right now, Akashi's power is the Emperor Eye. That's the first thing he can do, which basically allows him to see all over the court, predict people's movements, cross them. Just gives him a lot of really ridiculous powers. It allows him to be able to send people on the path to making the worst shot. And as I'm saying all this, you're probably beginning to think that Akashi might just be the best player. Akashi can also do something like called enter the zone. Now, if you actually watch real basketball, you should know that entering the zone is also a real thing, except this show takes it to a new extreme. Apparently, with super heightened focus, players can start doing things they don't do normally, which I don't think that's how that works, but sure. Also, they get more strength. They can now push back opponents that they couldn't barely touch at all before. Just really just taking it to another level. But anyway, Akashi can enter this domain, and in the show, he was so good that even though he was playing against somebody else that was in the zone, he completely dominated him and just kind of made everybody on the entire team look trash that he was going up against. Which for this video, it's Sagarine, which is the only, to my knowledge, opponents that he fought and went in the zone in. Basically, he was covering for his entire team by himself and beating an entire team also by himself with little to no effort whatsoever. So yeah, now did he win that game? No, but yeah, he was a monster. Moving on from Akashi, because that's about everything that we need to cover for him. Let's talk about good old boy Ryota Kisei, the Generation of Miracles. In my opinion, most prodigy. I'm gonna call him a prodigy. I think he's the best, but I haven't proved that. This is more like a podcast thing. So it's like I'm talking about it and discussing who I think is the best on site, not more like I've come up with the answer previously. But Kisei in one episode is titled The Best Player, so we're supposed to think that. But like I said, this show does a thing where it's really just out there with just phrasing and talking. So it's really hard to figure out who actually is the best and who isn't the best. So moving on, we have Kisei. Kisei is probably the only player in the entire show to come up with a special ability that is so broken and then unlock the zone on top of it. He's literally the only player to do this. Almine himself is just playstyle, and well, I'm not done talking about Kisei, so I'll get into Almine when I get to him, but I was going to do a little bit of comparison. Basically, in Perfect Copy, which is Kisei's super power, which first of all, is just retarded for the simple sense that I think it's retarded. Also, I don't think him being the copy man, which is pretty much how he performs the perfect copy. Kisei basically has always been able to copy sports really easy, like by watching somebody do it for a little bit. He can pretty much master the sport. He did this with soccer in the episode where they literally started the game. It was pretty interesting. Basically, after watching somebody play a sport for a while, he becomes extremely good at it in seconds, and basically it just, to me, that seems like the best prodigy out of anything because it takes him little and no time to become good at any sport and just dominate it. Kisei is capable of using this technique called Perfect Copy, which maybe I should have talked about Kisei last, because now I'm thinking about it, you're not going to understand the powers that Kisei can do because they all come from the other five within Perfect Copy. Kisei can also enter the zone. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Kisei doesn't have any special powers from entering the zone. He just becomes an even better player. I mean, besides that natural boost, I guess this show gives people who does that. Other than that, I don't really know. The thing is, when he did it, he was also using Perfect Copy, so it was kind of hard to, figure out how much better he got. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, according to Midorima, somebody we're going to talk about a little bit later, he was the best player on the court, which was, duh, no surprise. He was literally capable of shooting threes from all the way on the other side of the court, blocking pretty much any shot physically thrown, passing everybody with little to no difficulty and faking them, also being able to knock them off their pivot, making them fall down, and at the same time perform formless shots. This not even being to add, also Korko's passes. Yeah, this is just, he's just a monster when using Perfect Copy, and you throw his own on that, he's able to focus on it even harder, so he's even more deadly. So, yeah, that's real. Just me saying that, I'm pretty sure you're going to say Kisei's the best, so I'm at least there. As far as the standards right now, Akashi's probably number 2, Kisei's number 1, but I haven't seen Kisei play Akashi, and that's kind of the difficult part right now for me. I don't know how that would turn out, so I can't really speak for it, but Yeah. So next person we're gonna talk about is Mitarima because he's probably the easiest to get through and get over as far as powers and playing basketball scaling go. So Mitarima shoots threes, but not normal threes. He can shoot threes from way past half court. He can shoot them from all the way on the other side of the court with little to no effort. With his eye arch, and basically it goes in. So basically, he can shoot threes from anywhere on the court. Meaning, if you get him to the ball and he has enough time without getting blocked, he will shoot the three. Which big surprise. Yeah, that's broken because you can't stop him. Then you're gonna lose because threes are more than twos, and that's normally what people go for in games. They don't really always have the ability to shoot to a 3-point shooter, especially when they know if that person is the 3-point shooter. They're gonna try to stop you from passing the ball to them really badly. But the thing about it is, with him being able to shoot from everywhere, it becomes really difficult because he can be all the way on the other side of the court. You don't pass him the ball and you guard off the opponent you're facing, and he just shoots three. It can be really broken if you think about it. So, yeah, I don't know where he stats are on this list so far, but he is definitely a problem. But they're all problems. You'll see what I'm talking about when I get to the next person. But the only other thing Mitarima has ever been able to do as far as the show is concerned is fake, which basically means you don't know if he's actually going for a shot, which can make his opponents waste their stamina, become more tired than usual, and that can become a problem. He's also been even capable of jumping in the air before he does his form and have his friend Takao, or surprisingly enough, Akashi, pass him the ball, which I'm talking about the guy I just talked about, just in case you didn't know, but I mean, I've been saying his name. Basically, Akashi can pass the ball just like Takao can into his hand. And basically, as he's making the form, shoot the ball needlessly into the basket. It's really freaking broken, in my opinion, because you can't stop him if he's taller than you. Next thing to talk about, we have to talk about good old fashioned, amazing Almine, Daiki Almine, which is the ace of the Generation of Miracles, which, let me just get those out here. It's like really, like, I don't even know. Like, I think this guy is the best because this is what I was talking about. Like, there's this thing called story writing, and then there's this thing called story writing, and then there's this thing called story writing. So basically, story writing is basically, because I've said it 3 times, is basically the writing on which a character is forged upon, and that character is supposedly whatever the show is selling, that or this or whatever the freak they want you to believe. And basically, Almine has been depicted as the greatest basketball player in the entire show by story writing. As far as Kisei being literally titled the best player and having everyone's abilities goes, as far as story writing is concerned, Almine is the biggest threat. So I don't know. The show also did this with Akashi as well, so it becomes really difficult for me to figure out who is the worst. And what I mean by that is that apparently every member of the Generation of Miracles, including Tetsuya Kuriko, the main character, who is from the Generation of Miracles, who we'll be talking about in a little bit, is also afraid of Akashi and playing him. He's like afraid of him, and basically none of them. I mean, Kuriko having to go up against him was a little bit more lenient here, but as far as the rest of them are concerned, there is literally like not even a little, and I mean a little bit, of like sureness that Seirin will beat Rakuzan. Like, they're all pretty sure they're going to lose. Just because, like, that's just how good they think their previous captain really just is. Like, the story writing really just says these 3 are like the problems out of the Generation of Miracles. So, yeah. Also, just to cover a little bit of his abilities, like I've done with everybody else here, Almine is broken. It's a little to no difficulty. One time he shot a 3 by just throwing the ball at the basket. Not joking. I'm like 300% sure that was a 3 when he did that. Also, he can perform these things called formless shots. And formless shots are basically like he can jump in the air, right? And then just like pull his arm back with like no form and just shoot the ball and it goes in. He can do these high paced. He can just be falling out of the sky, shooting them, not barely even being able to see the goal. Just really ridiculous stuff, like sliding. He can literally like run up to the goal and then like he's gonna shoot like a layup, and then he decides not to do. He tries to draw the foul and then shoot the ball from behind his back as he's looking at it. Somehow I don't even know how that's physically possible. Like, this guy is just really just earth definingly good. His fakes are so good that literally nobody can keep up with what he's doing, and he can change his center of gravity to completely mess with his opponent to have played him so many times that they can figure out his pattern to literally like get past him. Like he's just retarded. He can throw the ball and catch it and then cross over and confuse you. Like what kind of like he's just really retarded. He can also enter the zone, which yeah. Also, if they can't enter the zone, I'll say they can enter the zone. And just so you know, Midorima never entered the zone. So yeah, I think we can where he's going to be placed at more than likely. When we pass that, we have good old fashioned Amine entering the zone, which just made him an overall better player, harder to keep up with. Somebody passed the ball to another player, he just broke through him, took the ball, scored with little no difficulty. Just really crazy. He became so good that he could pass Tiger Kagami, this give it not in the zone. In that in particular game, I'm talking about when he entered the zone against Kagami, he also entered the zone. Let's just say that didn't turn out so well for our boy Almine. He lost, which was his first time ever losing a basketball game, I might add. So, yeah, to take that into account real fast. Like just let that sink in, cause yeah. Next on our list here, because I covered pretty much everything you need to know about Almine. We have the next to last member of the Generation of Miracles, which would be Atsushi Mugisarabara. Now, Mugisarabara is like, he enters the zone for like a split second. So, yeah, he does enter the zone. He's literally, so yeah, by the way, Midorima is the only person to not enter the zone in like all of them. He's the only person next to Korko who has not entered the zone, which technically Korko is not a prodigy. He just figured out a really good play style that really works so well that the others just let him play in the game. It's basically a very, very, very super high-tech specialized passing routine. So, like, it's so good that it equals their level of prodigism. But Korko actually isn't a prodigy, which is funny enough, like, why he can't do it. So, like, that's just, like, his narrative, kind of, is that he was able to find a way to sit with them and be on their level, yet he actually cannot, like, enter the zone because he's not a prodigy. That's just how it works. The thing with, back to Mugisarabara, is that his arms are super long, he's super tall, he can basically cover the entire, like, free throw line and not 3-point line, but free point area, like where you would shoot for a free point, right? He can cover that entire area. He can also, like, just do this thing called Thor's Hammer, which pretty much just stops anyone who's trying to guard him from stopping him from scoring. Just really broken offense if he decides to start moving. Just really broken defense. Like, so broken that he can stop pretty much anyone from, like, doing anything for the most part. Like, just really good. The only thing he couldn't really stop was the vanishing shot, which is a technique that Korko invents that we'll talk about next. Basically, like I said, he entered the zone for a few seconds and got bodied, so I can't really tell you that much about his zone or just how far he's improving either. Just know that he does do it, so that alone is impressive enough. Next, our final member, Tetsuya Korko, the guy who I was literally just talking about, who can pass the ball at high level speeds to his own teammates that don't even understand how he catches the ball. Basically, how he performs this is this thing called misdirection. Misdirection is basically what it sounds like if you know what the actual thing is. Basically, he's averting your attention from himself to the ball, and basically, it allows him to continuously pass the ball infinitely through to other players on the team until his opponents. Sorry, I'm screwing this up a little bit. His opponents, like, get wind of it and basically has to sit out. So he's pretty much only good for like 2 quarters or whatever, which was really good for a team with prodigies because that just makes sense. But if you're playing on a regular team, he's a pretty big asset. Unlike when you're playing with the Generation of Miracles, who at this point I'm pretty sure you guys can all believe are monsters if they were actually to play real basketball. Now, pretty much that's surprisingly it. I mean, everything he does is misdirection. The vanishing drive, which pretty much just allows him to pass anyone by turning his, eyes to Kagami, basically averting their attention to Kagami, which was basically his light, and basically like the bigger of the two as far as presence is concerned. So that's all you have to worry about. Basically, he's averting everybody's presence to Kagami. So basically, the vanishing drive, vanishing shot, and pretty much all of both of those things work the exact same way. Except the vanishing shot finishes from air, and he shoots it in a very, very strange form. And yeah, just really, really, really broke style of playing basketball. Anyways, when you get past all of that, you finally get to the good part. The good, fashionable part. The part that makes you just, cringe or not. So, after discussing each one of the generational miracles, I want you guys to go into the comment section below and pretty much tell me what you think is the best generation from the generation of miracles. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go and talk about who actually is the best. Just gonna throw it out here. I'm still thinking Kisei is the best. He can do pretty much every one of their abilities. I'd say Akashi is probably up for the next candidatism. I don't think Almine can beat him. Then it's probably Muki Sarabarai, just for the simple fact that Almine said he has trouble getting around him. But because I don't know how bad that is, I'm gonna give that to Almine because he can enter the zone, which, in my opinion, would just destroy Muki Sarabarai, who's only entered it for a few seconds and has no idea how to do that on purpose like Almine does. So I think that just puts Almine at third place. I think without a shadow of a doubt, the next player is probably Muki Sarabarai. I think he can stop, Midorima. Maybe. I'm going to say maybe. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, they probably can. And then after that, we have good old fashioned. I really don't know about this one. Korko and Shintaro are probably my biggest questions here because neither one of them went into the zone. But like as far as the zone is concerned, this is pretty simple. But like as far as the moves and abilities go, this is also fairly simple. I don't think that Akashi could beat a zoned out Kisei copying. So that's just my opinion. I don't think that's gonna happen. So as far as this is concerned, I think this list is pretty straightforward. I don't think that Almine has a chance even in the zone of beating Akashi because Kagami can barely do anything against him with like his zone. So I don't think. Yeah, I doubt that. And so this is pretty simple. So with that being said, I think that I'm gonna give that to probably Shintaro because he's more useful throughout a whole game. As Koriko, on the other hand, is not, and he has to be stopped for 2 quarters. So guys, there you have it. That's my list. Kisei wins. He's the greatest member from the Generation of Miracle, the strongest. He can use all of their abilities. That's what I think. But please be sure to tell me who you think is the best in the comment section below. And I'll catch you guys in the next Eno Gaming video. Thanks for tuning in. Please go watch Koriko's Basketball if you haven't and you're just watching this to learn about it. Please be sure to follow me, Ethan, and Darion on social medias in the About section or description below. Thanks for tuning in. Deuces.